Hello, my dear friends. A very warm welcome on another session for Salesforce Advanced Admin session. In the previous module, we covered about how we can create some email templates, all the three parts, how we were creating a text one, a HTML template, a custom template, right? So now it's the time to use those templates within our workflows or process builders. So in this module, we are going to cover the workflows. Okay, what is a workflow? That is what we are going to cover in this module and how we can automate such processes. And we are going to create one, right? So let's begin. What exactly is a workflow? Workflow helps us automate some standard internal processes, and that is going to save some of our time. For example, if I have created a contact within my organization, okay, I've created one contact, and on creation of that contact, I want an email to be sent to that particular person automatically in spite of me sending an email. Okay, so we can use this with the help of a workflow. Okay, you create a contact and click. You created at the same instant of time an email is shoot out to that particular person's email address that we have filled in within our org. Okay, isn't it interesting? It saves a lot of time. It automates such processes. Workflow rules are divided into two main components. Okay, first is the criteria. Suppose you are writing some condition. Okay, if no one is there at my house, I can organize a party. So, what is your criteria? Criteria in this sense is if no one is there at my place. So, in similar fashion, what workflow is, we can define some criteria. Okay, whether we are creating a contact and we haven't specified the email address. So, will the email be able to send? Will we be able to send an email to that particular person? No, right? So, in this scenario, our if condition is that email field should not be blank. Then action we can perform is send an email to that particular person. Okay. I think you guys have understood the party experience, right? If no one is there at my place, the action is then I can organize a party. Okay. I'll read through criteria. The if part of an if then statement. In other words, what must be true for the record for the workflow rule to execute the associated action. Right? Making sense? And action says the then part of the if then statement. In other words, what to do when the record meets the criteria. Right? When the contact's email is present, then what to do? The action is going to tell us. So in this module, in the first section of this today's presentation, we are going to cover the criteria part. Action we are going to cover in the next slide. Okay. We will go to criteria. There are three types of criteria that we can perform within our workflow. Okay. The criteria says first is the created one. Okay. It says whenever you are creating a record, you should be able to do some particular action. Okay. You have created just a contact, and on creation of that contact, I want to send in some particular email to the particular person. See, I can do it easily. Okay, I'll read through the created part. Evaluate the rule criteria each time a record is created. If the rule criteria is met, run the rule. Ignore all updates to existing record. Okay, if I have a record with a name called Ben, I have a contact called Ben, and I have created it prior. And if I've selected a workflow criteria on created, so when I am going to update it, will the workflow fire? No, right? Because the criteria is just for a create scenario. Okay. With this option, the rule never run more than once per record because every record is created only once, right? We will go into our org. I'll explain you side by side also. So, how can we reach to workflows? One simple thing is we can directly write in workflow. It is going to give me under build create, I have workflow and approvals. I will click on workflow rule. It gives us a brief introduction of what the workflow can do in, so we can go through and read this. I'll continue for now. I have some few created by my own. I'll create a new workflow. So the first thing that a workflow happens is you have to specify on which object do you want to create that workflow. Okay, so that it can target that particular record, whether it's created, right? We were considering the create scenario. So if I create an account object or contact, I can select any is fine. I'll go to contact. Here it is. We'll click on next. So we have selected that on which object we want to perform our workflow. So the first thing is we can evaluate the criteria when the record is created. There are three criterias, evaluation criterias that we consider. Okay, and if it's created, and what do we want in that particular record so that we can perform a particular action. Okay, like we discussed, right? The if condition says if I do not have an email address, I cannot shoot the email. So I can go and select which field I want. Email. Okay, we can select any field that you want. You can see it, account name, all the fields of that particular object and its related object also. You can see the account fields. We have a relationship with account, so we can see in the account details we have the user lookup also, so we can see in the user object details, right? We can select in any field and we can define which criteria we want, and we can define in multiple criterias also. See, 1 2 3 4 and all are attached to the AND operator. We can change this AND to any criteria that we want. We can change the filter. I'll do it later. We'll see first the contact email with the operator equal to, not equal to, starts with, ends with. We have multiple criterias. So I'll say the contact email not equal to null. I'll specify. Okay. And we can change in the filter. The custom filters we can apply the first and the second and the third. I'll also say the contact name should not be null. I'll add this. And name is where? The last name. I'll apply not equal to the null. Okay. And we can write in the filter conditions 1 and 2 we can change it to or. It's our wish. And I will see, it's very simple. Between 1 and 2, it should be an or operator. Either they should not be null or they should not be null. But in our scenario, we want both to be, we want to check for both criteria is not equal to null. So we can write in 1 and 2. Since the default is AND operator, so we can remove this filter also. Okay. So if you want to add in some conditions by yourself, you can see it 1 and 2 or 3. So you can also do so the complex scenarios within your workflow criteria evaluation. Okay. In your scenario, I want if no one is there at my home. Second, you need to have your friends along with you, right? These are the two and conditions. You cannot party alone. So you need your home to be free. You need your friends to be along and you need to celebrate. So I can clear because by default they are with the AND condition. See, it's very simple. But it only works when the record is just created. When you have just created a contact record. It's not going to work when you have updated the record. Okay. You have your party today. You have created a record but it got cancelled because someone was there at your home. So next time when you are going to update that event for next day, it's not going to fire that email. For this, we will be considering the second scenario, created and every time it's edited. Okay, what does it say? Created and every time it's edited means I've given you the example. You have organized your party for today. Okay, but someone was there at your home, the plan got cancelled. Your plan got cancelled. So you cannot have a party today. So you want to shift it to tomorrow and send the invite to all your friends in a form of an email that party's time has changed to tomorrow. So when you are updating your record, it's going to shoot an email again to all the people in the email list. Okay. Evaluate the rule criteria each time a record is created or updated, right? Once you have created it, it's going to fire, and when you're updating it, it's also going to fire. Okay. If the rule criteria is met, run the rule. Criteria we have specified in that email should not be equal to null and last name should not be equal to null. The criteria is met, right? And with this option, the rule repeatedly runs every time a record is edited as long as the record meets the rule criteria. You guys are clear with it? With the email template or with your email not equal to null and your name present, you can send or you can perform the actions your criteria is going to evaluate fine and going to perform some action. Okay, so created and every time it's edited. One more thing that I missed to tell you prior is the criteria we can specify in here like this, and also we can have an advanced formula expression that we can put in. So this advanced formula expression is equivalent to your which thing? You guys have done it in the validation rules or your formula field, right? You can specify, you can define the formula and you can create any kind of relationship between using these kinds of functions that you have. Okay, and operator, I can specify the same logic that I have done prior to. I can add in, right? I can insert the field for the contact saying contact email should not be blank. Email I have inserted, email and I can add in the other logic fields also, the last name. Okay, insert the last name and any other fields that we want. We can run the criteria for all those fields. Okay, not equal to null. Okay, sorry, last name also we can specify not equal to null. Right, we can run this criteria in this manner. Same thing that we did in the previous scenario. By choosing the criterias are met, we can write the same field as a formula expression to return true. If this returns true, then we can fire in the email template or any kind of action that we can perform with the help of our workflow. Okay, great. So you guys are clear with it. Now the third thing that comes is created and anytime it's edited to subsequently meet criteria. What does it mean? Created, you guys are pretty much clear about it. Ki whenever the record is created, it's going to run, and anytime it's edited, right? To subsequently meet a criteria. I'll read through. Evaluates the criteria each time a record is created or updated. You guys have got the clear idea of what the first line created and anytime it's edited means. Okay. For a new record, run the rule if the rule criteria is met. For an update record, run the rule only if the record is changed from not meeting rule criteria to a meeting rule criteria. I will explain you this. Created and every time it's edited to subsequently meet criteria. I'll give you an example. Suppose you want to send an email to a particular person when your revenue of a account reaches 10k. Okay, and you have created an account with the initial value of $1000. Okay, will the email be sent? It's not going to send you the email because your rule criteria does not meet. Your rule criteria says the annual revenue should be greater than 10k, but it's 1k. Will the email be sent? No. When your annual revenue is 4 nines, will then the email be sent? It's not going to send you the email. But when the criteria has met, what did it say? For a record, the rule runs if the record is changed from non-meeting criteria, not meeting the rule criteria, to the meeting rule criteria. Right? Now the rule criteria is meeting. You have reached your 10k goal. Right? It's now 10001. Then the email will be sent to the particular account email address. Right? Email or any other action that you want to perform. There are 4 actions that can be done within our workflow. So we can perform all 4 actions when our criteria is met. And since your criteria has met, and if you change again to some other value greater than 10k, it's not going to send you the value. This flow run only when there is a change from a false condition of your criteria to a true condition to your criteria. Then only it's going to touch or going to perform some action with your particular workflow. Hope you guys have understood it clearly. What does it mean is created and every time created and edited to subsequently meet criteria. I can show you again. And in similar fashion, we can perform in the criteria. Okay, I have done for contact and I do not have any. Okay, I'll say for that particular account, annual revenue should be greater than or equal to 10K. Okay, for that particular account attached to that particular contact. Okay, it's going to pick that particular account and it's going to check for that annual revenue is greater than 10K. It's going to perform some particular action when it's greater than 10K. And the contact name is this. We can first workflow rule. Okay, and we are going to save and next. So this is what a criteria can be specified as, and this section is the rule criteria that we have done with. Okay, rule criteria is annual revenue greater than 10K for a particular account that we have attached to for that particular contact, and contact last name should not be null. So what are all the actions that we can perform within a workflow is we can create a new task, we can send in an email alert, okay, we can do a field update, we can send in an outbound message. Okay, new task means some kind of activity that we can perform in, that we can do while creation of that particular contact. Suppose we have created a contact for a bank. Okay, we have filled in all the details and we have created an account, or we have created a contact for that particular person. So what happens is now the task is give them a movie voucher. So this is a task that is being created for that particular account creation. So we can perform this task as soon as you are creating that particular contact. You can create a task of distributing a movie voucher to that particular contact, or you can send in an email alert saying that your account in this bank has been created. Enjoy your username and initial one-time password. So this is an email that we can shoot on that particular contact or account creation. We can update a field also. Okay, and we can send in an outbound message. Outbound message is a kind of a third-party application that we can do to an external system. We can notify that if your account has been created, send us these informations. So a third party can easily get the information of all the contact or account that we have created in. So we will be considering the three tasks, that is the um, task that we can create three actions: the task, the email alerts, and the field update. Okay, this thing we are going to cover in our next presentation. Hope you guys have understood what a workflow is. You can go in here, click on done. We haven't specified any action, we have just specified the criteria. The workflow is still not active. We are going to add those actions within our next presentation. Hope you guys have understood. Create three workflows. Okay, one is with the criteria create, other with the criteria create and updated, and one with the criteria create, and edited when the subsequent conditions are met. Create 3 workflows. In the next presentation, we are going to cover all the 3 actions that we can perform on any of the criteria met scenario. Thank you. Have a great week ahead.